A very pleasant evening to all the distinguished panelists and the participants connected with us. Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management, in association with Computational Intelligence Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Computer Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Technology and Engineering Management Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, System, Man and Cybernetics Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Communication Society of IEEE Delhi section, Consultants Network Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi section, Life Member Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi section, Inter-Society Relations Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi section, Industry Relations and Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi section with the associations Computer Society of India, Institute of Information Technology Professionals, IITP, ISTE Delhi section, and IETE Delhi Center as technical collaborator welcomes you all to the webinar on the topic Low Code Platforms, Future of Software Development. It is a moment of pride and honor to announce that we, with united hands, mark special contributions for the monumental occasion Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, an initiative to celebrate 75 years of glorious independence by organizing the thought-provoking sessions for our better future. The webinar is an initiative for celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The most important aspect of software development is to be clear about what you are trying to build. We all know that the organizations are hit by the force of digitalization due to rising costs, increasing customer demands, and new market opportunities, because of which digitalization is an increasing challenge every coming day. As a solution to this, low-code platforms could be the right choice. Yet, cost-effective booster bringing agility in operations, processes, and customer services for that competitive edge. This webinar is aimed to discuss it. It's all around perspective of how low-code industry has been being shaped so far and its horizon for the coming years, with some trends and statistics including use cases. I would first take this opportunity to welcome amongst us our distinguished panelists for the day. We are privileged to have amongst us a galaxy of experts. I would now like to request Professor M.N. Huda Sir, Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Application and Management Director and Vice Chairperson, IEEE Delhi Section, to address the participants with his inspiring words. Please, sir.
So, good evening, everyone. Am I audible, Ayushi? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Great. So, before starting, Manish, Uttam, whosoever is at the back end, because it is a highly distributed system, so I even do not come to know who is at the back end. Huh? So much of transparency is being maintained within the system. Whosoever is the back end, please coordinate with our valued speaker today, Mr. Sachin. He wanted to play a video, so we have to see to it that his voice is coming, and probably we have to share videos separately, then voice will come, right? So please coordinate with him. So good evening, one and all. It's my privilege on behalf of IET, on behalf of IEEE, on behalf of Bharati Vidyapeeth, on behalf of course, all you participants from various parts of the country and abroad to welcome you all for this 84th webinar of this series. And at the outset, in this sequel, I wanted to welcome my today's valued speaker, Mr. Sachin Vijan, who has very kindly accepted to be the honored speaker today and enlighten us on a very challenging and very upcoming topic, that is low code platforms, future of software development. I also take this opportunity to thank my friend Mr. Ajay and Professor Subramaniam Krishnamurthy and all friends from various professional societies who have joined here. Also, I wanted to express my thanks to a very special set of participants today, very senior and seasoned teachers in the domain of computer science from very premier universities, few sitting vice chancellors, from the domain of computer science and IT of various universities who have joined, and I could see them in attendees. Few of them have written me that with other name I have joined, but I wanted to welcome you all for this program. The topic is so innovative, the topic is so useful, the topic is so relevant that I myself have been advocating about low code programming platforms, rather no code software. Can we have a software without coding? This I used to advocate since last almost a decade. So this topic is so important. Dear friends, what I always say, that change is inevitable, change is the way of life, and everything in and around us are changing. All of us know that this change has embraced us in multiple ways, and technical domain is no exceptions. And if we do not keep the pace with the changing requirement of the time, changing requirement of the technological ecosystem, probably we will be made redundant. We will be made with no connect, no relevance to the existing changed world, and probably the entire environment will change us. And that's how I keep on saying that इंसान घर बदलता है, लिबास बदलता है, रिश्ते बदलता है, दोस्त बदलता है. इंसान घर बदलता है, लिबास बदलता है, रिश्ते बदलता है, दोस्त बदलता है, फिर भी परेशान क्यों रहता है? क्योंकि हम अपने आप को नहीं बदलते. एंड दैट्स हाउ अ ग्रेट पोएट फ्रॉम द सेम लैंड दिल्ली सेड दैट उम्र भर गालिब यही भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी और मैं आईना साफ करता रहा. So that is the value of the change. And while we are talking of change, we should never ever blame. We should never ever be busy in cleaning the mirrors. So exactly in the same way, we should never ever blame the technology. Technology is, of course, the source for the change, but the technological change will bring so much of value addition in our personal and professional life that we can't imagine. Coming back to today's topic with reference to change, let me admit and tell you that almost 1.5 decade, 15 years, I have taught this subject of software engineering for to bachelor's degree, master's degree, and at various platforms for many management development program, faculty development program, and all of us who are students of computer science have been so passionate about this subject of software engineering. And almost more than half a decade, 50 साल से ज्यादा तक लोग यही कहते रहे कि software development is a labor intensive work, and the pace of developing software cannot be expedited by after certain limit, because it is a labor intensive work. If you read Pressman gave a very practical example and said, the Pressman's margin side, Pressman has written that software development is such a process, like that if we need maybe 18 months to develop a software, we cannot develop in any way in maybe a 6 month time, or maybe a year time, or maybe 9th month time. Exactly in the same way, the way 9 months times are required to get a baby matured for a birth, so 9 lady members put together cannot give a birth to that baby in a 1 month time. If this time span cannot be reduced, exactly in the same way, the software development process and the time required to that also cannot be reduced. And that's how for almost more than 5 decades people have been talking that in software industry we are failing to ensure that how to meet the triangle of the software quality or software engineering process, which says that at one corner there is a time, at other corner there is a quality, and the third corner there is a cost. And the challenge before all we software engineers are that how to ensure that quality software within time and within cost expectation be delivered to my customer. And that was the challenge, because that we are not able to face, we are not able to meet. And that's how we say either time overruns or cost overruns. But now the topic which today I am talking, and this today webinar has been scheduled, is low code programming. Means absolutely, can we have software developed with least possible code or no code? That is kind of the situation which we are talking, and going back to that environment where from we started, that software is a labor intensive job where the schedule cannot be expedited or cannot be stretched further for the purpose of developing it fast and maybe faster beyond certain limit. As against that we are talking it, and the background of this is that entire world has become agile. entire world is changing and the mindset of the customer has become very agile. And under this agile environment, and that too supported by the huge digital transformation which has happened all across us and has impacted all of us in multiple ways, it is not possible to ask to our customer that wait for 1 year time, wait for maybe 2 years time to deliver the software. Customer expects the delivery same day. Customer expects delivery next day. Customer expects delivery maybe next week. That's the kind of the challenge which is coming up. And that's how this challenge is known as a business challenge, that how the productivity issue can be resolved so that finally we can meet to the business challenge. It cannot happen that you keep on asking customer to wait and you will be in a position to continue to do your business. If you need to continue to do your business, if you need to retain your customer, you will have to address to the changing need or the agile need of the customer. And that's how the entire concept started coming, that can we have a kind of the mechanism using which the way hardware system can be integrated, the way multiple components from variety of the vendors can be purchased and one system can be assembled. If in Delhi you ask me to assemble hardware, it is so easy. I will go to Nehru Place market or maybe Wazirpur market, will purchase maybe a Logitech mouse, maybe Intel processor, Intel chipset, and maybe some Seagate hard disk, etc., from variety of the vendors. But all those components, hardware components, are having a standard compatibility, having a standard interfaces that can be connected together, and the software operating system is loaded and the machine is ready for working. That's the kind of the hardware domain which we say as hardware integration. Can we have the same integration possible in software? And that's how since last 1 decade I have started telling to my teaching community, to my friends in the academia, that gone are the days of software engineering. Now the new days are coming, and the days are first the component based software engineering, the one discipline of the subject, and the second is the software integration. When I'm talking of a component-based software engineering, I'm aware of the fact of the McCall's quality factor, where McCall says that one of the important dimension of the software quality is software transition. And when I'm talking of a software transition, I'm also talking of one of the attribute of the software transition, that is a software reusability. Software portability and reusability. Portability, we talk in using the software component as it is, but reusability also to a great extent we have been talking about the using the software as it is. But here can we ensure that components which we develop can be put in some paid domain, maybe free domain or paid domain. And like this, there are many components. And if I wanted to develop a software, if I wanted to ensure that maybe low code programming and maybe no programming is required, so can I download those components from variety of the portals, variety of the websites? And those are basically may not be just a plugin, those may be a complete reusable component. Putting all those components together, writing maybe 4 lines or 10 lines or 20 lines of coordinating code, and that coordinating code will ensure that all those components are working together. And finally, after writing those coordinating lines, if we compile it, that probably a big software is available with the help of all those coordinating modules. And that is where it is spoken that component based software engineering, can we have those components? So at one end, we have to ensure that component based software engineering is taking place. At the other end, those components are plugged in, those components are brought into one coordinating module, and then finally the software integration is happening. That probably is the biggest possible challenge before all of us. And if that actually going to happen, that probably will be in a way negating what Pressman said earlier, and what the standard books all over the world have been mentioning, that software development is a labor intensive work which cannot be, the schedule of which cannot be stretched further beyond certain limit. So that will be wrong. And then probably same day, just maybe 1 day time, or maybe just 50 line of code, a big software can be developed. That is the issue, and that's the challenge before all of us. With this background and with this understanding, today's webinar has been scheduled, and I'm sure the expert, Mr. Sachin Vijan, who has been invited, is an expert in his domain. They have worked very closely with NASSCOM to make the industry, entire software industry of the country, to understand how can the low code software development process, a new arena of software development can happen in the country. For that we have scheduled this webinar. So I look forward a very interesting, very fruitful session today. And this session will not only be the interesting, rather will be setting a tone that how the next 20 years, 2 decades software development process is going to happen, and how we as students, we teachers, we developers have to realign ourselves, realign our entire concept, and probably redefine what the great authors like Pressman and many of the researchers earlier have written, if this is going to become the reality in the industry. So thank you so much. And again, monkeypox is giving the stuck in our country. So stay safe, stay healthy, be away from monkeypox, follow all guidelines of the government, plus few additional guidelines which you feel should be practiced. And wish you a very happy, very safe, very healthy stay. Keep learning despite disruptions, whatever and in whichever way it comes in and around us. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best. I once again thank to Mr. Ajay, who connected me to Mr. Sachin, and Mr. Sachin, who very readily agreed to enlighten us on this topic of low code programming, which is going to change the entire software development arena. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you, sir, for giving insights and also inspiring all of us. I would now like to welcome amongst us our expert speaker, Mr. Sachin Vijan, sir, with an e-bouquet.
Thank you, Ayushi, and thank you, Professor Hoda, for such a wonderful insights and the words that you spoke. I believe that you covered a lot of aspects that I wanted to speak about, and it's quite interesting to see that the thoughts are resonating, across industry in terms of the way or the future of the development that is going to be there. Yep.
Thank you, sir. Sachin Vijan, sir, is a global practice leader, low-code platforms, and a CTO at Nagaro with 20 years of experience. With an unmatched track record of delivering business value by implementing solutions using IoT, low-code platforms, and other emerging technologies to accelerate digital transformation. I welcome you to this session today, sir. I would now like to request you to kindly enlighten the house. Please, sir.
Thank you, Ayushi. I'm going to share my screen and start with it. Uh, Somehow the share button is gone grayed out for me.
So the rights would be given to you, please.
Okay.
I think you have received the rights to share.
Yes, I have now. Thank you.
Okay.
So just give me a minute. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. So yes, like the everyone is aware. The topic is low-code platforms, which are also known as productivity application platform as a service. Uh, Depicted as different things. They are called future of software development. They are the new paradigm of developing applications. Uh, we what we call it at certain point is also that application development on steroids, and that's what the topic is of today, and also the need of the hour in the in the industry due to the acceleration of the digital transformation as well. So this is what I'm going to cover today, primarily. Uh, just giving a quick glimpse or a quick wrap up around what low code development is, what are the kind of benefits and the influences around it, some trivia or some relevance in terms of use cases, and a slight development demonstration of it, that just to give you a hang of how development happens on a low code platform. Primarily, just setting the context, we're going to call the traditional or the classic development model as the custom code, and then we have the low code. Now, what changes between custom development and the low code is that it is a visual way of developing your applications, where you could develop your application, the front end, which is the user interface, the business logic, which is normally the your middle layer, and then you have your repository. All three of this and everything around it in terms of you want to connect to different systems and everything could primarily, and most of it could be done visually, and that is based on the experience of the industry and the evolution of the industry, where all the boilerplate, which is the regular run of the mill everyday things that the developer used to do to develop an application, has been brought in out of the box and could be utilized. People or the business or the everyone can focus on the functionality primarily. So that is what low code is, low code platform is. So how they do it, it is uh, a kind of, there are two ways of doing it. One is code emitting platform, and one is the environment, the code environments, the low code environment. So, for example, if you look at something very pervasive in the market, is something like Power Platform or Microsoft Power Platform, where it is the environment that it provides, where you develop your application and it runs in that environment. Then you have other leading platforms like maybe OutSystem, Index, or others, where once you program your logic for the application, it emits the code, and that code runs to run your application. Uh, as I go into the details, you will be able to figure out what I am talking about here. So these are certain things around developing applications on low code platform, and a kind of a little bit of gist on what happens when you develop. Now, I've also given, taking an analogy here, which will give you a little bit of more, construct around it, or more you can relate it more on how, the evolution of programming language happened, and at the same time, relating it to something like telephony. So you had, something like this. Most of you might not have seen these kind of telephones, but this is what a telephone looked like in the 1940s, where you had to, a kind of a mic and the speaker, and you talk on that. And similarly, we had the machine level programming, which was actually zeros and ones. You had to put into a machine to instruct the machine to do a particular piece of, follow a particular piece of instruction. This was super complex, super, very difficult. And just to, put it to perspective, just to write a program to add two sums might require almost a month using machine level language. Then came the dialers, the where you had a ring dialer here in the 1950s, which was on the telephone side, and similarly on the programming side, assembly languages were there. Like you had instruction based, like move, add, delete. So these instructions came into picture in the programming world. Then came the high level language, which is almost like you had a touch phone coming at that same time, and then you had this languages like Fortran and COBOL, which are business language and BASIC. These are instructive languages which came in the 60s. Then came the 70s, where you had a very powerful language. Of course, it is used today as well for everything on a very low level, where we are doing, maybe even machine level instructions. That is the level of abstraction that we use right now. We code in C there. Then came the concept of object-oriented programming, and in the 90s came the scripts like the web-based scripts, JavaScript, Python, and others. And in the last 1 or 2 decades, what has happened is this all of what had been happening has been evolving and being refined with certain things like rapid application development. There are various ways of developing application, and that's where your refinement came in, and lot of redundancies were identified and made as things out of box. And that's where you had rapid application development. And in 2014, the term low code was coined by Forrester, which effectively meant that you could develop your application using minimal of code and uh, features out of the box. So this is where the whole it's you cannot say it's the start of the low code. The low code could be, you could say it was there since 2000s, but at the same time, 2014 is when the term was coined, and by that time we had almost 500 plus languages across the globe, and uh, now came the part of digitalization there. All right. So now what happened with this? If you look at all the evolution, the complexity of instructing a machine to do a particular job decreased with every decade. And what happened on the other side was that the value that every system provided increased with a lesser time. And that's what low code is all about. You have the level of abstraction, which is the next level of abstraction to your instructing your machine and doing your work, getting your work done. So your value is increasing and your complexity is decreasing. Now, why it makes sense is because now looking at the business or looking at anyone who wants to develop an application, he or she would have just one thing in mind that okay, this is the kind of application I want to do. So I have my functional requirements. I want to do a e-commerce. I want to do a banking. I want to do a manufacturing. I want to do a shop floor, or all those things. Now, with that, a business or an organization always had to worry about a lot of other things, that how many users I'm going to have, how am I going to take care of the security, is the application going to be secure, how I am going to connect to different systems. Everything that was there had to be taken care of while you were developing an application. Now, with most of the low code platforms, these challenges are overcome. So when we talk about, let's say, scalability, so you could just scale similar to something like cloud, or if you think about something like integration, there are integration is when you connect to different systems across your enterprise, and it helps you connect that out of the box. And with this also, the other challenges that the industry was facing is facing at this time is the need of the hour, which is the digital transformation, and where what I call is improving at least the bottom line of their digitalization, where a lot of their processes are still handled manually or otherwise, could be overcome with this kind of hurdles, right? So what happens there is it allows you to accelerate that digitalization. It helps you get that standard or superior customer experience, or irrespective of the time, or so these are out of the box features, right? And then risk management or governance or agility around it. That's what it brings onto the board. Now, so what happens? Why this is important is, of course, the with the COVID and the pandemic era of two years, everyone in the across the globe realized and uh, realized that there is a need of having a digitalization in their processes, in their work, and that is where uh, business and industry, business and IT come hand in hand to make an organization profitable, and that is very well understood across the globe now. Now, the other part is where there is, so effectively, like Forrester has predicted, there's going to be, or IDC has predicted, that there is a need of almost 500 million plus applications to be developed in next forecasted year of 5 years. The talent pool that is going to grow is up to 1.6x of what it is today in the next 5 years. Now, which creates a huge gap in terms of talent, in terms of the way applications can be done. So that gap is something which also accelerates the way you're going to develop the applications, or the way you can optimize or bringing that digitalization in picture. Of course, legacy is a big challenge. Of course, you have various kind of interfaces coming in picture now. You have your web interface, you have your mobile interface, you have your wearable interfaces, and classical development. Typically end up programming for each, or maybe at least doing something around it for each of those user interfaces. When you get those kind of features out of the box, that you program once, and it is available on all kind of user interfaces, which is again your challenges being taken care by the low code platforms there. And of course, it comes with the reusability, where once you, let's say, you develop something which can be used in another application also, and now that you have a little bit of discipline that, okay, you're going with one platform, so you can use it across application. Now, coming to the other part, which is certain perceptions or the market statistics around it, how the industry is growing. It is expected to be a $187 billion market by 2030, which effectively means it's going to grow at a rate of 30% CAGR per annum, which is a very significant or a very remarkable growth. It's not that it is predicted that way. It has been growing in a similar fashion from 2018 till 22 as well. Now, if you look at the numbers, it is very promising in terms of low-code industry. It is also, if you look at the other statistics here, 70% of your application development is going to happen on low-code platforms by the next 5 years, by 2025. 70% is a huge market cap if we really think about it. Now, uh, at the center, you see what we have is the Gartner, who is the IT body who provides the information, or the details around how the industry is moving on a particular technology, or a particular maybe domain also. But here, the top quadrant is where you see the x-axis defines the vision, and the y-axis defines almost the maturity. So you see the top axis here, the top quadrant, that is the called the magic quadrant, and all the leaders of the low-code platform reside in this. So and then you have, by the way, we have almost like 250 plus low-code providers across the globe at right now as such. Now, I spoke about the perceptions that, when we speak about perception, this is more from the industry perspective, but just for your information, the organizations primarily deal with two parts. One is the business and one is the IT, which have become the equal stakeholders in terms of when the digitalization is spoken about, the even the P&L, or the profit and loss of an organization, is considered. Now, with digitalization, 95% of the business and IT, they work together now. There are a lot of applications they wanted to do, but now it has come that they have become from good to have applications to must have applications in most of the cases. That is the essence that we're talking about here. So this is one of the stats that I already spoke about: 500 million plus apps to be developed. Okay. Now, so like Mr. Professor Huda spoke about, we recently also did our research, and we also did kind of brought our experience into the picture, right from the global perspective and also from the India perspective, where what we see as benefits, or what are the what is the way where India growth path could be defined using low-code platforms. Now, these are certain statistics from that report. Of course, you can find that report on the NASCOP website or the Nagaro website as well. Uh, the current market, that is, just to give a perspective, this is the current market, $13.8 billion in 2021. And the current segment or the current industries which are forerunners in using low-code platforms are industry and automation, which is effectively your manufacturing industry, automotive, and everything around that. Or the banking industry, BFSI, telecom industry, and FMCG. So 80% of the low-code platforms or low-code development is happening in these areas. But yet again, this picture is changing at a very rapid pace. So there's a lot of adoption of low-code platform across the globe. Just a little time check. I think I'm good with now time. So with that, 40%, 48% of the business that is done, or the new applications which are developed, is for the new potential market. That is how it is, and that is done on low code. What it brings onto the table, this is based on our studies, our experience of maybe 100 to 100 odd applications that we picked for this survey, and figured out that we were able to save almost 66% in terms of time on low code when we developing using low code. We were able to reduce the cost. It might not be 5x in all the cases, and of course, there are a lot of details or the parameters around it, but we were able to save up to 5x of the cost for the development. So it was done at one fifth of the cost. Time, again, reduction in time up to 3 to 5x while developing your application. This also brings into what we do is we also calculate what is the return of investment that you're getting when you're doing something like that. So we have seen that overall there is almost a 35% return on investment while you're doing application development using low-code platform. A reduction in development lifecycle time, or the increase in productivity. There's a lot of figures, a lot of statistics. I would recommend you go through that report as well, or study about it on the various market statistics or others which are available for you to look at, to gauge that the enormity of low code as of now. Now, just another take to it, which is what are the kind of applications you would want to do on low code. It's not that it is suitable for all kind of applications, all kind of things that you want to do, but it takes care of almost 80% of the applications that are prevalently done across industry right now, which is where you're not looking for very specific customization. You're not looking for very, mixed hosting requirements. I need a data center, I need a cloud, I need this and that. So I would say in terms of, if you're looking for a very specific way of your application to work, both in terms of hosting, in terms of maybe user interface, in terms of extreme business logic or things like that, then it's not that it cannot be done. The platforms are maturing at a very fast pace. So just another trivia around it is that we used to do, when we started doing applications on low code, most of the clients who wanted to do their application, they were process applications. I want to automate this process, I want to automate my workflows, I want to replace my internal processes. But now there are applications which are kind of core business of a particular organization that they are trying to do in low-code platforms, and that's the situation right now. Okay, so talking about it, I also had a small take that I wanted to let you know about in terms of how we go about low-code development, or how you can enrich yourself to develop applications specifically on low-code platform. There is another area which is no-code development as well, which is typically more of configuration and what we call citizen development. But if you're thinking about developing applications for organizations or enterprise grade applications, it's still low-code development that we talk about. Now, one of the essential skills that we see is, from your perspective, you might think that how do I go into, what do I do to, develop applications on low code? What is the prerequisite? Is it that, do I need some technical knowledge or anything? So from our point of view, I think the basic prerequisite that we see is a kind of a little tech tech savvy one. Second is a good object oriented mindset. It does not matter whether you're done Java, you've done .NET, you've done JavaScript, but what matters is you are able to think in that object oriented programming way, or the object oriented analysis and design methodology. So in that sense, what that helps you with is to bring that acumen or the mindset of developing your application. The other part, which also I could relate to what Professor Huda was saying, it is also a shift in the paradigm or the way you develop your application. It is not only the technical skills that really matter if you want to excel. It is bringing that uh, thought or bringing that mindset of understanding the business, because these applications, when you're doing applications here, now you're very close to a particular business. Maybe, if you're, even if you're thinking about, for example, let's say e-commerce. So it's not only that, oh, I will program and it'll work. It is, how do I do this at a best fashion? So you would be thinking more from the business perspective as well. So that is a kind of a marriage that we see, or the combined scale, dual scale, that is evolving as we go along with the journey of digitalization here. So certain things that we do in terms of trainings around the same, and what we have seen as so the idea here is just to let you know that there's a particular format of training that you can follow, maybe within the academia or maybe outside. Primarily, one is that these lot of these platforms, they provide courses online which are self learning courses, or the study links. You could follow those, at least from the leading platforms. Once you have, which will help you build a foundation. After that, if you think that, okay, I want to take it to the next level, you might want to have a little bit of mentorship. That's where maybe any mentor can come in picture, who can guide you that, okay, how do you do this and that. That's where you see here on the give me a minute here. Okay. So you see here, it's the mentoring part that comes in picture. Now, once you do that, you also want to feed yourself back that whether how am I performing. So there are stipulated assessments that you should take up, and then of course that's how we do it as well. So that is basic developer level. Now, once you go to that, yes, I want to take this as my career path. Now I want to see if I can work on a real world application. Now, on that front, the things continue, and the things that get added here is that after your self assessment, where you are able to evaluate yourself, you should also be involved in doing a kind of a POC, a real world use case, and then also working, or where we involve a lot of folks from the industry or from the academy or the universities are shadowing, which is tagging with actual software engineers to develop the application. So this is what helps in terms of training, and this is one typical use case or snapshot I wanted to share as well, in terms of just to give you a gist of how things are. So this is for one of the clients, and you see we've been running the engagement for certain time. What happens here is how much reduction in time we have brought, or the reduction in development cost, or what were the kind of applications. So here, let's say 12 applications were done. The application ranged in medium, the various complexity levels, and there is, of course, a way we gauge how complex an application is. But typically, out of these 12 applications, these are the statistics. Most of the 50% of the applications were of medium complex. When I say medium complexity, these are applications which are done in a typical time of 3 to 6 months. Uh, but yet again, what we hear from the client is what we hear. Certain of these applications, some of these applications were done earlier, and fell into the modernization bucket, so they were being redone. Now, being redone on a low-code platform, we have heard testimonies from clients like, we did this application last time. It took us 2 years with double the team size. And with low-code platforms, we were able to do the same application in 6 months with half the team size. So effectively, there is almost less than 12 to 20% of the time and the cost that has gone into it to realize the application. And that is just the monetary or the time benefits that we're talking about. The other things that came, which were also the side effects of it, was a happy customer, a well realized business potential, and other things there. The other thing that you see here is the time to market and then the integrations, which as you go into the industry, you will realize. But yes, these are other things, other aspects of this return of investment from a low code journey or a snapshot around it. Like I said, there are more than 250 plus low-code platforms across the globe right now. These are certain examples I have taken. They are not in any order of priority. Of course, they are. I have listed the ones which are, on the top leading quadrant of Gartner, and then you have certain which are depicting the artificial intelligence low-code platform, something like H2O.ai and Yellow.ai and others. Then we have certain which are specific to domains also, something like Creatio, or which is specific to a CRM, or Salesforce Lightning, which is specific to sales. So these are domain-specific platforms also. But and also at the the last row that you see here, I've listed the platforms which are made in India or make in India under that edition. So these are the platforms which are driven from India or developed in India by Indian platform providers. Not to say that this is a elaborate list. This is just some of the examples, and like I said, in no order of priority there. Now, talking about certain use cases around it, I've just taken a manufacturing industry as an example for now, but it could be any industry that we can talk about. These are some typical use cases that were done. For example, we did one of the use case right now, or a couple of use cases I'll talk about. One of them is one of the leading stores in India, leading provider or of jewelry and other luxury items across India, and their retail chain, the billing system is done on low-code platform. Their servicing centers software is done on low-code platform. That is on the India perspective. There is another one where there is let's say a pharmaceutical a giant in India. They are revamping all their applications onto low-code platform. Have started. They were early adopters. They started realizing the benefit of it, and now their rationalization of doing application is, first it has to be vetted that can we do it in low-code platforms, and most of them fall into that category. Another one I would say on the international level, which is a very cutting edge implementation, a core of a mobility giant, where the whole train monitoring system of that organization is based on low-code platform. So these are so what I'm trying to stress here is it is no more the applications which are small or trivial which were done on local platforms. These are core and real-time critical applications which are being done because of two things. One is the platforms have matured, they have gone to a level, and they are moving at a very fast pace because it is a very competitive market for them. Second is also the need of digitalization and the potential or the benefits realized. Now, if you see here, we could talk about any of these. By the way, we have our own platform, which is central to our whole, interaction with anything that is within Nagaro, which is, let's say, our, the HR, finance, legal, anything inside Nagaro. We have a single interface of interaction, and the core of it, or the heart of it, or the representation of it, is through a low-code platform. Of course, there is artificial intelligence built in. There is, there's a lot of algorithms that it works on, but at the same time, it is equally there is a low code platform stakeholder there. I'm not going into the details of it. This is just I wanted to give you a gist of certain examples on the low code, and that's what I wanted to do. But if you look at this, the manufacturing, if you are aware of the industry automation pyramid, where there's a shop floor, there is central system, then you have SCADAs, and then you have the up to the ERPs, manufacturing, engineering systems, and others. Uh, the penetration is up into every segment, right from the manufacturing, not even manufacturing, I would say, just before that, where is supply chain, where you provide, parts or everything which are assembled together or made, and then the finished product and selling of that. So the whole supply chain, right from the start till the end, is everywhere. You would find the presence of low-code platform engineering applications. All right, so I will stop here for a bit. Just give me a minute. Okay, so this is just a small demonstration of I intentionally hidden the platform, but you might find a little bit of hint of which platform it is, but how this is a development environment of that platform, and it gives a very trivial case of putting a login and kind of a product catalog around it. Uh, I'll just play it for next 2 minutes, and you can see how the development is. I've made this video and I'm playing it at a very high speed, but the idea is just to give you a gist that how a low code platform helps in developing an application. This whole application is done in like half an hour to 1 hour. It's of course a prototype, but for demonstration. But that's the amount of time it took to have something representing right from login to a product catalog, which is available on the screen. So I'll play this. So this is the development environment, and we're just building a user registration screens. So you see the visual elements being done here at a very fast pace. You are able to. By the way, it could be multilingual, as seamless as you want it to be. Now the backend logic is being written. That is the business logic. Encrypt the password, create the user at the backend. The whole workflow has been done. So your user login is ready. Now we'll go to the product dashboard being built. So this is where the product catalog will come in picture. Filters and everything is out of the box. Slide scripting that has to be done. That's where I said, you have to have that little bit of mindset of product or object oriented. So this is a grid being developed. And now the product overview page. So this is end to end, the repository, the database, everything created. And like you see here, this was done in half an hour. And just give me a minute. Let me come out of the pointer option there. And so this is the final outcome of that. Of course, I played it at 4x speed, but that half an hour of development, and you have this page ready. You look at the side, you have all the filters, you have your images, everything ready, and the maybe, of course, it's a prototype. The actual thing, if you want to develop, it might take 10x of it, or maybe more, little more than that. But just to give you the power, the essence of power of low code platform, you are able to do it at such a rapid pace. Okay, so yes, that's what I had for you right now, and I would be happy to take up questions, or over to Yashi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the enlightening deliberation. I hope this session would have helped our audience to a greater extent. With your permission, I would like to take on the questions, sir. May I?
Yes, please.
Okay, the first question I have is, with these low code platforms for customers, what benefit in cost they get from building applications on low code platform vis-a-vis traditional software development? Any numbers if you have?
I had shared those numbers in the presentation. Like I said, we had done that based on experience, market statistics, and other information all gathered together. And that is one of the things that we want always like to highlight, which is the return of investment. We typically see reduced time of almost uh, 45 to 55% compared to the classic way of development. And time wise, of course, it is directly related to that. You save on costs as you save on time there. So I would say 45 to 55%.
Okay. Another
In-
question, sir. One of the participant has asked us, if I want to develop a mobile application for Android and iOS, which
Mhm.
low-code platform can be used for that?
There, I would not like to name any platforms, but most of the market leading platforms, if I have to say, from the magic quadrant or the top quadrant, most of the platforms take care of, developing applications. You do it in once, and it is available both in Android and iOS. If okay, I will say that maybe Power Platform, Mendix, OutSystems, Temenos are typically these platforms, and then there are MDPs which are again rebranded as low code platforms, which also take care of targeting this particular specific functionality that you want to do, that you want to have your application running on both. By the way, the other thing that also helps is, which we have seen is quite helpful and also evolving with time, is progressive web applications, which is also one of the outcomes that you can achieve with low code platform, which helps you have a very so for example, Facebook Lite, Flipkart Lite, these are progressive web applications which doesn't have a very high footprint on the consumer's device. At the same time, it doesn't have to go through a lot of the processes to be hosted. But yet again, these are certain platforms, or all the leading platforms take care of this in certain fashions.
Okay. So one last question, sir. What suggestions you have to introduce these at the academics? What could be the structured way to approach this?
Yeah. So the industry is moving at a very fast pace. Every day there is, there is new things. There are new ways of working that are being established. What we see, of course, it will become pervasive. It will eventually become part of the curriculum in the coming years. Where it, for now, what we see is this, and we are also looking at it from that perspective, where this could be introduced as an optional subject taken up by industry, the providers, the providers or the uh, maybe the technology kind of firms across India, and collaborate with them. The universities could collaborate with them and have this as a optional subject in the final year for now. But yet again, over the period of time, it could be thought about by the thought leaders of the academia to be brought in as a subject in the future. In
Thank you,
in the
sir.
future, when I say in the future, it could be
Yeah.
couple of years. The time, the runway is short, so the better. And in fact, a lot of universities have already started doing that, being part of their academics as such.
Thank you for justifying the answer so well. Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to request Professor M.N. Hooda, sir, to kindly present a certificate, e-certificate to Mr. Sachin Vijan, sir, as a token of remembrance.
So thank you so much, Mr. Sachin. In fact, you very nicely explained the journey of the change in terms of the need of low-code programming platform. And unless we address to this, we all teachers from academic community who still claim that, particularly in the domain of computer science and in general in the domain of engineering, we still are learners. We are aware of this challenge. And I'm a strong believer because the initial 4 years I have worked with industry in the software development before joining to academia. So I'm a strong believer that business challenge which the industry and particularly the IT industry is facing in a big way cannot be addressed unless we address to the issue of the productivity. And only the productivity issue cannot be addressed just by adding manpower to the system. Unless we apply the technology, unless we optimize, and unless we develop these kind of innovative ways for the purpose of maybe low code programming or no code programming platforms and changing the entire software development arena, probably the actual concerns of the industry will not be addressed. And this probably will be one of the answer why we still keep on talking about software crisis, keep on asking in academia the question, what is software crisis? How can we solve it? And of course, the problem of cost overruns, time overruns, etc. So this will be a great solution to that. And you rightly answered also that maybe in any way, it is always more than 50% optimization which we can do through this. Maybe project to project, it may differ somewhere, maybe 80%, somewhere maybe 60%, somewhere maybe 40%, but certainly on an average 50% plus saving we are going to make it. And that will be huge in terms of the volume of the project which IT industry keep on delivering. So thank you so much. And this certificate is not for the purpose of certification. This certificate is only for the purpose of remembrance that you have been part of this wonderful webinar. And in fact, I keep on looking for such topic which could be the trendsetter for entire decade. So thank you so much. We'll meet again. And Ayushi, where is our e-memento?
Sir, I would now like to present
Everything has been
e-memento
changed.
as a
Everything is
token of
electronic. So even the
gratitude for
memento is
today.
electronic. Right from bouquet to memento, everything is electronic. So thank you so much, Mr. Sachin. Thanks to my friend Mr. Ajay as well, who keep on helping me strengthening my system so that I keep on presenting good webinars. And series of these webinars have become one of the most flagship webinar. If any Saturday last year was going off in between the month, people used to ask me that why this Saturday we didn't have any webinar. That's the kind of the demand, that is the kind of the wait which participants from all over country wait for us. And with this note, I would like to end that हम सब जानते हैं कि फूल शाम में खिलते हैं, सुबह खिलते हैं और शाम तक मुरझा जाते हैं और फिर अगले दिन एक नया फूल खिलता है। तो कहता है जैसे फूल खिलते हैं हर सुबह एक बार फिर से, वैसे ही हम मिलेंगे अगले लेक्चर में, अगले वेबिनार में एक बार फिर से। तो थैंक यू सो मच, ऑल द बेस्ट, ओवर टू यू यूजी।
Thank you all our distinguished panelists and participants who continuously support us by joining us through our webinars. I thank you all. Also keep joining us and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for regular updates and recorded videos of our activities. Thank you. See you next Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Ashley.
Bye-bye, Sachin.
Thank you.
So we'll meet again.
Thank you, Professor.
All my guests, all my guests are free and based on their liberty to exit from the room. But participants, this room is converted into a facilitation center, help desk, where you can get your queries related to certificates resolved from my team member. And my team member now will be led by Ayushi, Uttam, Manish. They will ensure that all of you who are here, and if you fill up the feedback form, you must get your certificate. And please follow the instructions. Our team members will not fill any feedback form. They can't do that and they can't generate your certificate. It is up to you participants to fill up your feedback form and generate your certificate. But yes, this help desk is to resolve your queries. So thank you so much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Sachin. Thank you.
Thank you.
I personally enjoyed the session.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dear participants, I would like to bring to your notice that the recorded videos of our activities are being made available at the earliest possible on our YouTube channel. You are requested to please find the details of our YouTube channel from the chat window. Subscribe the